You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Monday, 9th day of September 2024. Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks so much for joining us today. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're always glad just to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. The first one is private. That's our live training room. You either have to be a member or on the 1-week free trial. If you haven't taken the 1-week free trial, go to mytradingiq.com. That's this address right here. You'll see the link at the top of the page. Click the purple button, fill out the registration form, hit submit, and we'll get your desktop set up today, get your indicators indicating today. Your trial will officially begin tomorrow. Wah, wah, you only get 4 days. Not true. You'll get your 5th day next Monday. So really the 5-day trial turns into a 7-day trial because the weekend doesn't count against you and there are markets that trade over the weekend. mytradingiq.com. Again, no credit card required. Just click the purple button, fill out the registration form, hit submit, and we'll be in touch. Same day. Now, when the live training room ends each day, take a 30-minute break and come back for this broadcast, the afternoon broadcast, which is open to the public. That's everybody everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. There's 2 different ways to join the afternoon broadcast live. The best way, just go to mytradingiq.com, scroll down the page this time to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click that link, fill out that 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward is every trading day, you'll get an email about an hour before this broadcast starts. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link that's in that email, and it'll automatically log you into our platform. The benefit there is you'll have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there'll be days when you're out of the office, away from the desktop, but you still want to join live. And there'll be days when you're busy and can't join live, but want to get caught up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CFRN. You already know the YouTube part, so really you only have to remember CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there are over 2,600 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. And I should check that number. We're probably over 2,700 by now, but I'll check first. Okay, This is our daily schedule. Start with our daily devotional, word of prayer, some news, both world news, market news. Then we'll get into a recap of the alerts, Logic 247, concierge trade alerts. About 12:50, Michael will join us, give us a recap of what happened in the live training room this morning. Then we'll do some live trading on the TradingView platform for 30 minutes and wrap things up with our good word for the day. The topic of our devotion, which we've been on for 8 days so far. God's dream for your life. Our scripture today is Deuteronomy 8, verses 1 through 5, and I'm going to share with you from the Message translation. Keep and live out the entire commandment that I'm commanding you today, so that you'll live and prosper and enter and own the land that God promised to your ancestors. Remember every road that God led you on for those 40 years in the wilderness, pushing you to your limits, testing you so that He would know what you were made of, whether you would keep His commandments or not. He put you through hard times. He made you go hungry. Then He fed you with manna, something neither you nor your parents knew anything about. So you would learn that men and women don't live by bread only. We live by every word that comes from God's mouth. Your clothes didn't wear out and your feet didn't blister for 40 years. You learn deep in your heart that God disciplines you in the same way a father disciplines his child. Again, that was Deuteronomy 8, 1 through 5. Sometimes God delays your dream by design. Dreams are never fulfilled immediately. There's always a waiting period. Abraham had the dream of being the father of a great nation, and he waited 90 years before he was even told he was going to have a son. Noah had the dream of building an ark, but it took him 120 years. The Israelites were brought out of Egypt and then wandered around for 40 years before they made it into the promised land. Yet it's only about a 2-week walk between Egypt and Israel. Think about that. 40 years to make a 2-week journey. Just like the Israelites, sometimes we are delayed by design. God uses delays to prepare us. Every dream has difficulties. God uses delays to get us ready for those difficulties. God knew that if the Israelites went to war unprepared, they wouldn't be able to handle it. So He knew He needed that time to prepare them for what was ahead. God also uses delays to test us. The Bible says in Deuteronomy 8:2, do you remember how the Lord led you through the wilderness for all those 40 years, humbling you and testing you to find out how you would respond and whether or not you would really obey Him? So when your dream is delayed, how should you respond? Don't fear. This is the first mistake the Israelites made. Deuteronomy 1:28 says, why should we go there? We are afraid. The men we sent tell us that the people there are stronger and taller than we are. The Israelites had enough faith to move out of Egypt, but they didn't have enough faith to move into promised land. They were afraid. Maybe you're familiar with that feeling. The problem with fear is that it keeps you in the wilderness. It prolongs the delay. Many of your dreams have never been fulfilled, not because of God, but because of you. Because you won't step out in faith. The antidote to fear is to focus on God's presence. Realize that God is with you. When you're afraid to go after the dream God has given you, you need to focus on God's presence. He says, "Fear not, for I am with you," in Isaiah 41:10. He's with you now. He always has been, and he always will be. Some of you are in the delay phase right now. You've been praying and praying about something, and it hasn't happened. You may be starting to think that God has forgotten you. God has not forgotten you. It is a delay by design. God knows what you're going through. He wants to build your character, and he wants you to learn to trust in him. You can count on him for his help. So do not fear. Join me in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before you today with grateful hearts, remembering your faithfulness as written in Deuteronomy 8. Just as you led the Israelites through the wilderness, teaching them humility and dependence on you, we ask that you guide us in our own journeys. Help us to remember that every blessing, every provision, and every trial is meant to draw us closer to you. May we be mindful of your word, living in obedience and trusting in your care, knowing that you provide for us, not just physically, but spiritually. Help us to rely on you fully and trust in your perfect plan for our lives. It's in Jesus' name, believe and pray. Everybody said, amen. Amen and happy Monday. I do hope you had a great weekend. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. Start here in the U.S. with cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Got a little different color going on than we've had the last couple days. Currently the Dow's up 586 points. That's 1.5%. The NASDAQ up 167 points, 1%. S&P 500 up 61, almost 1.25%. And the Russell 2000 up 18 points, almost 1%. In the commodity basket, crude oil up 70 cents, trading 68.37 last. That's a gain of a little over 1%. Gold up $5.10, trading 25.29.70 last. Silver up 43 cents, trading 28.62 last. That's a gain of 1.5%, or almost $2,500 per contract traded. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei dropped 175 points. The Shanghai fell 29, and for the Shanghai, that's over 1%. The Hang Seng dropped 247 points, 1.5%. In the European markets at the close, FTSE up 89, over 1%. The DAX up 141. The CAC up 72, again 1%. So that gave us a red day in Asia. It was a green day for the UK. And so far, it's a big green Radio Monday here in the US of A. So let's take a look at some news. I kept saying, seems like Boeing just can't catch a break. But maybe they have. Maybe they haven't. On the surface, it looks like they have. Boeing and its largest union reached a deal yesterday to avoid an end-of-the-week strike. If approved, the agreement would raise the company's 33,000 production workers' pay by at least 25% over the next 4 years. The deal, Boeing's first with the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers since 2008, falls short of the 40% raise the union had called for. In practice, however, wages will increase by an average of 33% due to seniority increases. A majority of union members must vote to approve the deal for the contract to be ratified. The agreement comes as Boeing's production has slowed in recent months amid quality concerns, particularly its 737 MAX jets. Separately, Boeing's uncrewed Starliner landed without incident. Now remember, they sent that thing empty because they weren't so sure. And it landed in New Mexico on Saturday. The future of Boeing's Starliner spacecraft and the company's partnership with NASA remains unclear amid disagreements over the Starliner's readiness to return 2 astronauts to Earth. Southern California, over 11,000 people are under evacuation orders after the line fire grew to over 17,400 acres. By Sunday afternoon, flames had advanced to densely populated areas. No deaths had been reported as of this writing, with fire officials saying the blaze remained at zero containment. The blaze began Thursday and was accelerated by an intense heat wave, with temperatures in the triple digits and humidity in the low teens in inland areas like San Bernardino. Conditions are expected to persist at least through today. That TV show that premiered, I think, 2 seasons ago, Fire Country. If you haven't watched it, it's a good show. You should go back to season 1, episode 1. But they take inmates from a California penal institution, and it's kind of like the trustee program that prisons have, but on steroids. They actually take them out of the prison and they take them up to these fire camps where these California wildfires are constantly raging. And in exchange for putting their life on the line to fight these fires, they hopefully get a reduction in their sentence. So, of course, I'd heard about the California wildfires, I guess, all my life, but I had never actually seen one up close, and I still haven't, but I've seen it on TV up close, and man, it takes courage. Some reported seeing pyrocumulus clouds in the area, a sign the fire was intense enough to create its own micro-weather system. The phenomena occurs when heat from burning vegetation rapidly rises into a cooler atmosphere, causing clouds, turbulent winds, and in some cases, lightning. Well, our elections are just around the corner. Venezuela's former opposition candidate, Edmundo Gonzalez, fled to Spain yesterday after being granted asylum. The departure comes days after a Venezuelan judge issued an arrest warrant for Gonzalez related to the contested presidential election. God, does that sound vaguely familiar? At the center of the dispute are thousands of voting tally sheets obtained by opposition volunteers. Incumbent President Nicolas Maduro declared victory hours after the July 28th election, but did not publish district-level voter data. I mean, they announced the election. Now, we're talking about Venezuela, okay? They supposedly had their results in 2 hours. It takes us, what, days, weeks, months? America's Got Talent, they can do it during a commercial break, but I digress. At the center of the dispute are thousands of voting tally sheets obtained by opposition volunteers. Incumbent President Nicolas Maduro declared victory hours after the election, but did not publish district-level voter data. Now, the opposition party collected and published copies of what it said were close to 80% of the tally sheets, indicating that Gonzalez won the election by a large margin. Now, that's a claim backed by the United States. In response, a court considered by critics to be loyal to Maduro said the opposition faked their tallies. Of course they did, charging Gonzalez with falsifying documents and conspiracy, among other crimes. Gonzalez's departure appears likely to dampen weeks of protest, resulting in the detention of over 2,400 people. The opposition party says Gonzalez still intends to attend a swearing-in ceremony in January, maintaining that he is the next president. Now, I made a comment last week, the week before, probably both. Would it be nice to have a place where you could just go get the news? No spin of any kind, not left-leaning, not right-leaning, but just news. Well, there's a new place where supposedly you can do that. I haven't tested it out, but I certainly plan to. It's called Tangle, which is a bit of an ironic name, but in a world full of partisan opinions, biased arguments, clickbait, and more, Tangle offers a refreshing approach to the news. They tackle one big topic in American politics 5 days a week and approach it from multiple perspectives across the political spectrum. They package all these insights and arguments into a 10-minute read, drop it in your inbox, and let you do the rest. So again, it's Tangle, just like it sounds, Tangle. I assume it's .com, but Google it, and you'll find it. Okay. In the markets, U.S. stocks rebounded today on the heels of the S&P 500's worst week since early 2023, as inflation comes back into focus for investors, gauging pressures that could influence the size of interest rate cuts. The major averages are on pace to regain some of the ground they lost after the August jobs report failed to settle a key question. How aggressively will the Fed lower interest rates? The neither hot nor cold data left Wall Street guessing whether a cut of a quarter or a half a point is likely at this month's policy meeting on the 18th. America's dollar stores going away. And Chinese e-commerce giant Temu's, in case you're not familiar with it, it's T as in Tom, EMU, meteoric rise has been disruptive for U.S. discounters. Never checked it out. Give it a look. Dollar General's in trouble. Dollar Tree's in trouble. Although Dollar Tree is up 2% today. But if your town had the 99-cent only store, and I don't just mean the generic dollar store, but the one that was obviously a corporate entity, whatever 99-cent only store you walked into, they had the same color scheme. We had quite a few here in Phoenix, and unceremoniously they walked in one morning, and I reported on it that day, and they told all the employees, we're done. Now, risk on momentum in stocks succumbs to mounting growth worries. The seemingly unstoppable stock market rally is wobbling as it confronts a horde of challenges to the momentum that's taken it from record high to record high. A rout early last month was a glimpse of how quickly things can turn bad. A sharp sell-off driven by U.S. recession fears that rocked investors used to going in only one direction. While the S&P 500 subsequently rebounded, crucially, it didn't make back all the ground lost, at least not yet. Now, you've always heard me say that the indices will always go higher over time, by design. When a company gets weak, they're removed from that group of 500 large cap companies and replaced with a bullish company. It's the same with the Dow 30. It's the same with the Russell 2000. That's just how the indices are designed. Over time, they'll always go higher because they're constantly reshuffling the deck. Well, Palantir Technologies, that's PLTR, jumped in pre-market trading Monday after S&P Global announced late Friday that the big data analytics software company will join the benchmark S&P 500 index, with the inclusions taking effect before the market opens on September 23rd. The Denver-based company stock, which has nearly doubled over the past 12 months through Friday's close, has been on investors' radar as a possible contender to gain a coveted inclusion in the index as its artificial intelligence software offerings continue to drive profits. To join the S&P 500, the company must have reported a profit in its latest quarter and have cumulative profit over the 4 most recent quarters. Requirements the software maker easily satisfies after reporting a profit in the past 7 consecutive quarters, with its largest quarterly profit representing the largest in its 20-year history. Palantir shares were up 7.8% at $32.69 about 90 minutes before Monday's opening bell. Now, who did they boot? Because they got to boot somebody to bring somebody in. Let me see. This article doesn't give us the one that got the boot. I guess they were just trying to be kind. But they're replacing somebody because there can only be 500 companies. And does everybody remember the Hyperloop? Hyperloop, a new form of mass transit, involves capsules whizzing on magnetic fields through depressurized tubes, has achieved significant liftoff in the northern Netherlands. A company developing the technology said today. You thought I was going to say Los Angeles. A test vehicle was levitated and zipped through a tube at a testing facility for the high-speed transit system once promoted by Elon Musk. So today, with the first successful test, we were able to levitate the vehicle, also turn on the guidance system and the propulsion system. I wonder when they're going to do their first trip with real people. Now, Elon first proposed this idea more than a decade ago, suggesting it could shuttle passengers the nearly 400 miles between Los Angeles and San Francisco in 30 minutes. Wow, what a trick that would be. Since then, teams around the world have been working to bring the idea to fruition. To deliver Hyperloop as a mobility system, we have a very complicated puzzle which requires technology, which requires policy, which requires public-private collaboration, and that is what is needed most. Some analysts are skeptical. When the Hyperloop test facility opened in March, Robert Nolan, distinguished professor at the Boston School of Planning and Public Policy at Rutgers, told the Associated Press that building the necessary infrastructure is too costly, calling it another example of policymakers chasing a shiny object. Well, all I know is if you've ever made that drive from LA to Frisco, and I have, thought of being able to do it in 30 minutes. Well, you can fly there in 30 minutes, I guess. No, I think it takes a little longer. But, yeah, this would be quite the trip. Quite the trick. Taking that trip. Anyway, you can Google it, Hyperloop, and you can see all the pictures, what it looks like. It's a doozy. Okay, Logic 247. It's our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. Not just the E-minis, but also crude, gold, silver, euro, bonds. Now, the Logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock, 2 a.m. or 2 p.m., because futures trade around the clock, and we have traders around the globe. Our day session is their night session, and vice versa. We're currently in week 319. And over those last 319 weeks, we have published over 17,700 individual handcrafted alerts. I think we're just about to hit 17,800. And what we've averaged on a weekly basis over 319 weeks is 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on market structure. In a very simple process we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. Now, since the markets opened last night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we issued just 5 alerts. We were still waiting on one at the time Valerie did the recap. That gave us 4 actionable alerts, of which 1 got stopped out. That put us at 25% on the first day of the week. Mondays are usually the toughest day, but you never know where the week's going to end. Beginning of last week looked kind of rough, and we ended up closing out last week at 11%. But the average over the last 319 weeks has been 20% or less. That's the average. And it was on Friday's broadcast that I went through all of the Logic 247 alerts for the entire week. So if you missed that and you want to see what they look like, how they work, just go watch Friday's broadcast at youtube.com/CFRN. Now, the purpose of the Logic alerts is not for you to just trade them so that you don't have to learn how to trade. That's not the point at all. The point of the Logic alerts is to help you learn how to read a chart. Okay? When you started school, first thing you had to learn, if you didn't already know how, was to read. Because school is full of things called textbooks and handouts and stuff written on the chalkboard. So you got to learn to read so you can learn all the other stuff. Well, If you want to learn how to trade, you got to learn how to read a chart. And that's what the Logic 247 alerts are designed to help you do, because they come out well in advance of being actually triggered, so that you have a chance to study them, study the 30-minute chart, get an understanding of why the entry price is where it is, the initial target is where it is, the additional targets are where they are, and then of course there's always a final trade to target. The CTAs are different. They don't come out around the clock. They're published as a static report shortly after the Globex open. So the Monday session started last night at 6 p.m. Eastern, as it does each week. And by 6:55, all of our members and all of our trial members had all of these targets. Now, whether you're a member or a trial member, you can go and read this information here. If you have any questions, let me know. All right, let's go to the daily chart of the S&P, where we always start out. And what do we have? We have an inside day. What does an inside day mean? Well, today's high has not taken out Friday's high, nor has it taken out Friday's low. I wrote last night in the discussion group about if price could break Friday's low, because we opened positive. You can see there's the tiniest little wick at the bottom of that candle. So we were like red for an instant, and then now you see what we got. Okay, so we haven't taken out the high, we haven't taken out the low of Friday. Inside day. What does that mean? Consolidation. It's just more evidence that we have a market looking for direction. And there's so much going on, from Ukraine, to Capitol Hill, to the elections, to the debate tomorrow night, to the Fed interest rate cuts. Even the institutions aren't really sure which direction we should be going in. They had a pretty good clue here, and a pretty good clue here, and a pretty good clue here. Now they seem to have stagnated today. We don't have any high impact econ news until Wednesday of this week. And then I think we have maybe a little bit Thursday and a little bit Friday. So definitely not a news heavy week. So it'll be interesting to see what the market can do on its own without the input from those econ reports. Now, whatever you trade, whether it's futures or stocks or crypto or Forex or ETFs, I encourage you to spend 2 minutes with the daily chart before you actually start trading on your smaller time frames. Institutional traders, the ones who actually move price, they look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts the way you and I look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. It has to do with account size. They have huge accounts and they trade in huge size. They move price for liquidity. Okay, so if you'll spend 2 minutes with the daily chart before you start your trading session, you can look over the shoulder of the deep pockets who move price. Now, our strategy, our indicators aren't designed to outsmart the institutions with their infinite resources, but they are designed to help you understand what's happening from the big picture all the way down to the smallest range chart. Because if you simply do what they're doing long enough to get your goal for the day and have the discipline to put the mess away, life can be simple. Trading's not easy, but it can be simple. Now, these are last week's weekly trading zones that you'll see on the charts today, because all the alerts that go out on Sunday night are based on last week's zones. The new weekly zones don't come out till Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. So any alert issued after 6:15 a.m. Eastern today, those are based on this week's weekly trading zones. So tomorrow on the afternoon broadcast, on my chart, you will see this week's zones. But all of our members and trial members had them this morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. The vertical line separates today, Monday, which we know began last night, Sunday. And back here is Friday, and back here is Thursday, etc. We close the week below the lowest weekly trading zone. Last week, unusual, but it happens. We're now approaching an area right here. We're right at it. We hit it here, and buyers are still trying to punch through it. But this bearish cross, okay, potential resistance. Up here, potential resistance. Up here, obviously, potential resistance. So if you're trading long, keep those areas of resistance in mind. Very, very important. Okay. So we opened last night. Price is trapped with resistance overhead and support below. When red and falling gets directly below price, it becomes potential support because it's usually on its way to becoming blue and climbing. So price walked the back of blue and climbing right up to the BBC. Green line is called the BBC, bull bear cross. The pullback to the BBC holds more often than it doesn't. But eventually it will trade through. BBC just stands for bull bear cross. When price is below the green line, bearish on the 30-minute chart, anticipating lower prices. Above the BBC, bullish, anticipating higher prices. So once we got above the BBC, off we went right up to the long target. Then we hit the weekly zone from last week. Consolidated, that's what will happen 70% of the time when you hit a weekly trading zone. 20% of the time, rejection. 10% of the time, the slice. That's when a 30-minute candle slices through the zone like it's not even there. Once it runs out of steam, though, it will typically retrace back to the zone it sliced through and continue in the direction of the slice, exactly as it did here. ES still trying to climb, breaking above that bearish cross area, so really keep an eye on 54.99, and then if the market continues to climb, 55.32. Okay, so there was really never any reason to consider the CTA short target because we had support right here. We could have punched through it and nabbed it, and we may see that in some other markets. But by the third candle, it had blue and climbing, and that's support. Red and falling directly below price is potential support. On the down, we opened last night at the weekly zone and pretty much did exactly what the ES did. Got above the weekly zone and made a nice clean run right up to the target at 46.85. And you can see this bearish cross right here. So once price hit that bearish cross, which we expect to be resistance, consolidated, we retraced back to the BBC. Remember, the pullback holds more often than not, even when it spikes it. This was a red candle all the way down. By the time the 30 minutes were up, look where it was. Back above the long target. So then, this area right here, potential resistance. You can see how price retraced a little bit. But the markets are very bullish, and they're doing their best to reach Friday's high and this zone from last week where we spent an awful lot of time consolidating. Here we got rejection. We'll see what happens. The Russell, okay, pretty much the same story as the ES and the Dow. Got above the BBC, and each pullback held, and it held, and it held. And this one here, which came at the 9:30 open, we had a red candle coming down. And once it reached this low right here, this area, buyers came in and we closed above the BBC. We opened below it with a red candle. But this is why I just don't do anything during that first 30 minutes. Michael, Valerie, they hit the ground running right at 9:30. I prefer to just wait. Let things get to their normal rhythm. So you get a leg and a retracement. Pullback held. So now where are we headed? To the long target. Aside from Friday. Get through that target. And we've got the zone from last week, which you still have to respect on a Monday, even though it's last week's zone. And then we've got potential resistance there, there, and there. Okay. Trade every market exactly the same. Market opened last night. We dropped to red and falling, potential support. Became blue and climbing. Once it gets directly below price, that's because it's probably on its way to changing color, just like up here, blue and climbing turned to red and falling. Now this is the CFMA1, but I just call it blue and climbing, red and falling for obvious reasons. One's bearish, the other bullish. So we get to the BBC, we consolidate for a few hours, and then we finally trade through it. Because during all that time of consolidation, blue and climbing never changed its color. And so off we went. We got right to this high, was it to the tick? 644. 645. So with the NQ, yeah, basically the same. That gave us a retracement back to the BBC, pullback held, and then that sent us to the target, and through this resistance. We spiked it, came back to the BBC. Now we had a candle open and close below the BBC, but it was a green candle. Had it been a red candle, then we would have expected price to continue lower. But we reversed here, got back above the BBC, hit the long target again. Now we got fresh resistance at this high, 18,720. Then up here, you got the bearish cross, and you've got this area here, and then the zone. On crude oil, here's where we open. Got a leg, retracement, leg, retracement. And we got below the BBC, that pullback held. And then that sent us down all the way to the short target. Okay. We did not take out Friday's low, but we did make it to the target. Support will always send the market looking for resistance, which it's just overcome. A lot of resistance. Look at these highs. They're not all the same high exactly. This is the highest one of the bunch, but we've broken through that. So now we should get a nice run up to the long target, which is right at the bearish cross. That could be enough resistance to turn the market back down. If price can trade through it, then you've got potential resistance up at 70.10. Okay. Look for this candle to continue. It's still struggling at this high right here. It really needs to make a clean break. So $69 to $69.10. Yeah, 69 to 69.10. That'd be enough right there just to get your goal for the day, if you don't have it already. Goal, here's where we open. Ran up to the BBC, got below the BBC, dropped to the short target, and Friday's low. Just as buyers came in on Friday, buyers came in overnight. It was back up to the BBC, resistance, and then we've got above it, pullback held, so we get a leg. This leg takes us right up to this area, right here. Okay, see that? Picture perfect. Look at the horizontal line. Resistance sends a market looking for support, and it found it at the BBC, and it spiked down to touch the zone. Support times 2. And that pushed us above red and falling. And now you see this high and this high are the same. Now you only need a $1 move in gold to get your goal for the day. So what's the high of this? 2534.7. What's this high? 32.8. So you could go 33.5 to 34.5, and that would be sufficient to get your goal for the day. Or you could wait for price to take out this high and then wait for it to make this run, which might take us all the way to the long target. Silver. Here's where we open. We dropped the blue and climbing, and see how we spiked it, but we didn't quite touch the short target on that spike. Blue and climbing took us all the way up to the BBC, which we expect to be resistance till proven otherwise. That resistance sent us down to support at the short target. Support will always send the market looking resistance, which it initially found at the BBC, then at the zone, then a retracement, and then back and forth from BBC to the zone, back to the BBC, back to the zone. We've overcome that zone now. We've got a double top on the session right here. We need to break that. If we break that, it should take us right on up to the long target at 28.80. You only need 2 pennies in silver to get your goal for the day. And we'll talk about the euro when I come back. Michael's here. He'll give us a recap of what happened in the live training room this morning. Then we'll do some live trading on the TradingView platform for 30 minutes. And I'll come back, talk about the euro, and we'll wrap things up with a good word for the day.
Yes, yes indeed.
Okay, looks good.
Good. All right, here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Monday, the 9th day of September, 2024. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com and click on the purple button right here. When you click that purple button, it is going to bring you to this registration page. On this page, all that we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number. There are 5 multiple choice questions. And then down at the bottom, we ask for your Ninja Trader machine ID if you have it, and your TradingView login ID if you have that. If you don't have a TradingView login ID, you should really try to get one. To get one, all you have to do is go back here to this page, click on trading platforms, and follow the instructions right here, TradingView platform. All right, you can click on this link right here if you want to. That'll take you through it all. But get your TradingView login ID, and when you get that, if you put it on this registration line right here, then we'll be able to enable the indicators for you. So your indicators will be indicating for you at the beginning of your trial, as opposed to waiting until the end of your trial or the middle. Get that done early, and then it'll make a lot more sense to you. All right, the spreadsheet. We got our goal early again today, which was good. We didn't have a spectacular day today. but we did have an okay day. We stopped out on our last trade that brought us down from 4 something down to 285. But either way, we did all right. And after going to read the spreadsheet, you have to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is 99924. And we were -8 on the NQ, plus 25 on the Russell, break even on the YM, and plus 16 on the ES. It's -8 on the NQ after being up 200 every day until today. I wasn't really focused on the NQ so much today. That's why we're -8. And the highest we were on the NQ today was plus 16, and the lowest was a -56. So lately we've been having a whole bunch of trades on the NQ, and today I didn't take a lot of trades on the NQ. Anyway, we got back to break even on the YM. The highest we were at on the YM today was plus 25, and the lowest we were at was -25. And the Russell, the highest we were at was plus 50, and the lowest we were at was 20. On the ES, we were pretty positive from the beginning. We had small gains on the ES. Every one of our small gains went on to be really big ones. But we got a +4, a +1, a +1, and then a +10 on the ES. And I'll show all that to you in a minute. But it took 4 minutes and 2 trades to get to $1,400 this morning. It took a total of 23 trades. So on the month now, we're at $5,070 over 5 business days, averaging $1,014 per contract per 2-hour business day. On the year now, we're at $74,870 over 168 business days, averaging $445 per contract per 2-hour business day. Now, the 24/20 blueprint, if you were to quit trading when you get your goal for the day and add 1 contract a month starting this year, in January of this year, you'd have only had to work about 51.5 hours, a little less than 51.5 hours so far, and you would have averaged $2,156 per hour for those 51.5 hours. That is quitting when you get to the goal for the day, the goal being $100 per contract, and adding 1 contract a month. So right now I'd be trading 9 contracts, like I am doing right here, trading 9 contracts. All right, let's get into the actual trades now. Here we go. We'll start out over here on the YM. We had some pretty good trades on the YM today, even though our last one was the stop out right here. We did have some decent trades, and we started out right here. Our first trade on the YM, wait a minute. Our first trade on the YM, I think this one's supposed to be a red arrow. First trade on the YM, we stopped out, we're -25 ticks. Is that right? Yeah, first trade on the YM, I think it's supposed to be a red arrow. Oops. We stopped out and we're -25 ticks. Then we had a break even, and then we had a +20 that got us to -5. And then a +10 that got us to +5. And then, oh, okay, I'm sorry, this was supposed to be blue one. Okay, this was the plus. This one over here. The trade over here that I took on the YM, that first trade that I took, was a mistake. I should have had my stop at break even, or there's something wrong with it. That's why it's orange. But I stopped out on that. That was -25. Then we had this one that was a +20 that got us to -5, then a break even. And then we had a +10 that got us to +5, and another +20 right here that got us to +25. And then all the way over here, we stopped out, and that put us back down to break even. The stop out was -25 ticks. That got us back down to break even right there. During the break, there was some really nice trades. One right here, one right here, and the last one right here. Each one of those trades right there was good for 25 or more ticks. 45 is what the target is. So you could have gotten 45, 45. This one's still be about 25, 30 right now if you took this trade. But during the break, there was some really nice trades through there. Now, again, the thing to take a trade, the rules for taking a trade are much simpler than what they were in the past. The rules for taking a trade, you just want the ribbon to be spread out, right? Spread out ribbon and pull out of the oversold. That's it. All right, that's it. So all through here, where it was all choppy, no trades because you can't see the ribbon. All right, simple as that. This thing that I'm showing right here is, for those of you guys who weren't there this morning, who were there in the partners meeting last week, this is a shaded area that is, well, it's portable, and it's 20 ticks wide, okay? So if I was looking for a down close, if I was going to look like, let's spread this out so it's a little easier for you. If I was going to look for a down close on the bar, I put the top of this on this, and this is going to tell me over here on this side, if I highlight it, it's going to tell me over here on this side where I need to have my order waiting. 41.40 is where I need to have my order waiting. Okay, it does the math for you is basically what it does. It's just a thing that shows you what the math would be if you had to do the math. I still do it manually, but I want to show you that. That was one of the things we were talking about in the partners meeting last week. And I finally met up with Mike R. and got what he was talking about. There's other ways to do that same thing. This.
Yep.
This is, if you go in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you go down 5 things right here. It's called price range.
Oh,
There's other ways you can do it.
That's the thing we were looking at on.
Yeah, we're looking at that in the partners meeting. Yeah. So to create it, I'll show everybody in here too. Just go to the price range like that. Create it. Make it as wide as you want it to be. You see that minus 30 right there.
Yep.
Right there. You can make it, well, minus 20 is what we use in this time frame because it's 1 tick more than the range bar.
Right.
And in here, when you double click on it, you can make it have this text or not, or you can make it the opacity of it, make it completely blank, and don't put a label on it. In here, you can take that no background. Okay, you want to have the background there. You want to get that text off of there is what I'm trying to do. And oh, here it is. Take this off right here. Go all the way to the end like that, and then that text goes away too. So you just have the shaded area, and you can make it extend, left and right if you want to, because it doesn't really. Hang on, let me do that again, and I'll show you what I mean. Make it extend left and right, and you say okay. I mean, you don't really need to see the arrow part of it. You just need to know the top and bottom of it, so you can move it up and down. Just so you know where the top and the bottom of the bar is. Like on this bar, if we're looking for an up close, we just align this with the bottom and you say, okay, 20.1 is where we want to have our order waiting. So, and then you can just copy it and paste it like over here. Since that's the same time frame, you can paste it over there. You get another one over there, or you could paste it over. I think it actually makes it 32 ticks by default. So you would have to go in there and just straighten it out and make it the right size. But that's a pretty simple process. I met with Mike on Friday afternoon and went over all this.
All right, great.
So,
thanks.
Yes. That was the YM. That was YM. The Russell today, we ended up positive on the Russell. We never got negative on the Russell, which is good. Our first trade on the Russell was right here. We picked up 20 ticks on the first trade, 20 ticks on the second trade to get us to 30. I'm sorry, 10 ticks on the second trade to get us to 30, 20 ticks on the third trade to get us to 50, and then we stopped out on this one. Looks like that came within 1 tick to get my stop to break even, but it is what it is. Now, this is not a weekly trading zone, so move it around. During the break, there was, actually this was not during the break, this was during the session. The break didn't happen until all the way over here. So right here, there was a shot here during the break. And it looks like one more right here during the break. Right, and both of those worked out pretty well. That was the Russell today. Now the ES, we were all positive on the ES. Look at it go. Look at it go. Like a scalded dog. That's the thing. On the ES, we had small gains in the beginning. We had a 4 tick on that one, then a 1 tick there to get us to 5, a break even, another break even, then another 1 tick there to get us to 6, then a break even, and then finally a 10 tick gain here. And that got us to 16. Then I don't think we traded again during the break. I could make this. If I'm going to keep it here, then get rid of the label background and come in here and make that completely opaque. And let's see, then we got into the lesson plan and we didn't do any trading on the ES during the lesson plan, it looks like. During the break, there was a nice trade right here on the ES, another nice trade right there on the ES. one right here that would have stopped you out. Okay, remember, you're just trying to get the goal. Both of those other ones would have given you the goal for the day. This one right here would have also given you the goal for the day. This one right here would have given you pretty much a goal for the day, or break even. So in this huge run up, it was goal for the day and then some, goal for the day and then some, stop out, goal for the day and then some. This would have been, if you got the entry just right, 89.75, and it ran up to 92.25. So it was 10 ticks. So goal for the day again. The opportunity is there. It's definitely there. Okay. The NQ. Now we hardly traded the NQ this morning. It seems like had a lot of break-even trades. It looks like. All right. And I know we had something in the beginning here on the NQ. All right, well, our first trade on the NQ was a plus 16. Doesn't look like I highlighted it, but we had a plus 16 somewhere. I think it was like right in here. We had a plus 16 on the NQ. Then we stopped out on this one that put us at minus 20. And then we got, wait a minute. Yeah, we stopped out again somewhere. We had minus 20, and we had another stop out that put us at minus 56. Then on this one here, we picked up 48 ticks. That got us to minus 8. Then we had a break even, and another break even, and another break even. Now, every one of those break evens gave me 16 ticks. That one, and that one. They all gave at least 16 ticks. So we ended up with minus 8 after all. I didn't have the other stop out listed in here, wherever that was. I didn't have the first 16 plus 16, and I didn't have that minus 36. But I did have both of those trades go off. So we ended up with minus 8 overall on the NQ. Now, during the break, see, all you need is the ribbon to be spread out so you can see it all. Then you come out of the oversold. Bing, 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 bing. That one right there might have stopped you out to the tick. Then you had to get a higher swing before you could go again. And it looks like this one right here, another stop out to the tick. It looks like if I stretch it out a lot, you'll see in there, I think the lines are separated and they turn to blue. It was red on this one, so you might have skipped it anyway. The same thing on that other one that stopped out, wherever that was. Okay, now that was good. That was good. That was good. That was good. This one right here. Okay, that wasn't the same thing. So it would have stopped out. That looks like it would have stopped out to the tick. If you got in right here, 45.75 with a 9-point stop, 36. Yeah, it would have stopped you out to the tick, literally. Would have stopped you out there. You couldn't have taken this one because you had to put in a higher swing from that last one. If you took that, it was red right in there. You might have to stop it out on the one right before. You could have taken that and that and done okay. And that was the NQ today. It wasn't hard to trade. None of the markets were really hard to trade if you focused on the market and got the trade setups that were issued on the markets. But again, we're not trying to trade 100 times, right? Try to get in there and get the goal for the day and be done. All right, well, it is now 1:09. So let me show this again for anybody that's logging in right now on TradingView on YouTube. To take the free trial, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on this purple button right here. There's no credit card required for the trial. Click on the purple button. And when you do that, you're going to be brought to this registration page. Now, on this page, all that we ask for here is your first name, your last name, your email, your phone number, 5 multiple choice questions. Down here, gives you TradingView login ID if you have it. It gives you NinjaTrader login ID if you have that. Okay. And that is all that you need to do to register for the trial. Okay. So in here now we currently have, this is a YM trade right here. So on the YM, what you would have done, this is YM on a 19 range. Let me make sure that this thing is 20 ticks wide. 114 to this should be, I think I kept the wrong one. And I deleted one of those a minute ago. Coordinates should be 20 ticks wide. So this should go up to 34. Oops, 34. There it is. Okay, so if we were looking for a long trade on this one, it would have been right here at the top of that. Okay, at 41.34. And that is a valid trade in there on the on the YM at 41.034. 41.034. Okay, here it is, 41.034. And we'll see where that goes. Now the stop on that should be 25 ticks away. That's right there. Proper stop. It needs to go to break even after 10 ticks in profit. I don't think it's had 10 ticks in profit. Is it? No, it is not. Okay, let's pin that there. Now we don't have anything oversold here, or here. They are all coming off of higher swings though. These three markets right here all have higher swings. So that's what we're looking for. A pullback to an open ribbon that gets it into the oversold and comes out of the oversold with a higher swing. That's what we have going on right here, right now on the Russell. Okay, so for the Russell, you would take this thing, take this. I'm trying to grab it. There it goes. There, and move it right there, like that. So 19.5. Okay, now that's down a little bit. Now the Russell's a really easy one to do anyway, but that's where you'd have your buy stop limit. Okay, that is where you'd have your buy stop limit. There at 19.3. So this is what it looks like. Okay, that's what it looks like. NQ's almost got a trade set up here, but not quite. We'll slide that off to the side. I'm going to stick the YM off to the side too. I'll let you know if we stop out. Stop out is down here at 41.009. It's right above the low of the day is the stop out. Okay. So we're waiting right now for things to set up. Hopefully they will, but time will tell. Does anybody have any questions? It's now 1:13, so we have 17 minutes left to wait for trades to set up. I haven't gone to look at any of the other markets yet today. I feel like it's been a long day for some reason. I go here, and Bitcoin has got lower highs and lower lows. If you don't count this wick, even if you do count the wick, it's got to put in a lower low. I think I drew this level in here before and said that that's a significant level right there, and it's probably going to go down and hit that level, and it did. I don't know where I got that level from. We just stopped out on the YM trade. I don't know where I got that level from exactly. It looks like I took it over here is where I took it from. And what was I looking at that time? Well, we went down and hit it to the tick pretty much right there. And that's going to be an important level again. You know, I don't want to really get into politics and stuff. We did stop out over here in that YM trade. We don't have a trade there on the Russell right now, but we almost have a trade. The number that I gave you earlier as a potential trade number has changed because it's gone down some. Right, so Mara gave us this short a while ago, and it's pulled back. This is a head, this is a shoulder, and this is building another shoulder over here for a little bit of a bullish bottoming action right here, possibly going on with Mara right now. Okay, if we go out one more to 7, my phone keeps going off. Okay. If we go out to 7 of them, we have the ZB out here, and we're looking at it on the ZB. Oh, the sniper on the ZB on the 3 range. This was after it had that huge move last week. See, so far today on the 3 range, it's had some pretty good indications today. Now again, that's $31 a tick. That's why we're thinking 3 range on that. All right, I'm going back out here to just 4 of them, and we don't have a trade here on the Russell anymore. But now the Russell, you would move this thing down here like this, okay, just like that. So you click on it. 17.5 is what you'd be buying on that now. All right, 17.5 is what you'd be buying on that. This one over here stopped us out. We didn't end up getting what we wanted on that one. The Russell, I mean, the NQ just gave a trade right here. If that is spread out, and it's not really. I want to see that put in a higher swing and then pull back. Okay. He's giving me hope for the Russell though. The ES clearly is not spread out. You don't have everything there for the ES. ES has exceeded all targets even when you expand it out to 5. You got to go to a higher time frame than Steven. If you do it on like a 30-minute, see how I'm down here, and you get some targets you can get out to. If you look at it on a 7 range, then you know it's probably going to exceed all those. But you sort of jump to a little bit higher time frame to see where it had prior resistance before. You pivot points prior to that. All right. So we had to stop out here on the YM, and we're waiting to see what's going to happen. We're waiting to see what's going to happen here with this Russell. It is actually bouncing off the ribbon right here, but so did the YM. We do need the up close here on the Russell for that to happen. We need to get a higher swing over here on the NQ also. All right, so that's what we're waiting for. But yeah, if we bump this out to 5 on the 7 range, 5 targets, 54.72.5 was way down here. So it well exceeded all those 5 targets on the 7 range. So if you go to a 15 range, what does it have for targets? Even 55.65, here you go, 54.79, which we exceeded. 55.23 would be the next one up. 55.23 is the next target on the 15 range. The problem is that on the 7 range, when you're looking back, it's had more pivots on the 7 range, a lot more pivots on the 7 range. Let's look back at those pivots. You know, if you look at it this way, and we go up here and we draw those pivots on there. You know, the movement has been, just went right by it again, didn't I? I did. The movement has been so much that that these pivots are within the larger time frame pivots. You have like multiple of these smaller time frame pivots. So when you go here, see what it was looking at from here, what it was looking at after the last cross right here. This is the last cross right here is what it's looking at. So it's looking at everything that happened before that last cross, all the pivots that happened before that last cross. And because they're all right there like that on a 7 range, there's 5 of them, bing, 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 bing. And if we go to a 15 range from the last cross right here, then it doesn't have as many. looking at right there and right there. Okay, remember that's what it's looking at after it's looking after the last cross of the BB3 and the BBC. Okay, you're talking about the NQ. Oh, even NQ at 31. Okay, well the NQ, I mean, it's the same thing. The indices are just running, and when the indices are running like that, you just have to look at a higher time frame if it's not going to give you any pivots. It's consolidating the pivots on the smaller time frame. You go to a larger time frame, it's just going to have a whole bunch of pivots, basically is what it's saying, and it's going to run out. It only goes out to 5. If I made it go out to like 15, you could do that, but that would have been really complicated to do. It's complicated enough getting it out to 5. All right, so this is obviously changed here, and now the ribbon has changed color, so I'm going to cancel the order that I had waiting at the top of that thing right there. Okay. And it looks like everything's going to change direction right here for a little while anyway. But the NQ with the 31, the current 652, 18,652. And if we bump that out to 5, then it's got 18,720. So we just exceeded the final one of those. So it's not too far off. So you don't have to double that one. But if you bump it up to something just a little bigger, like a 50 or something like that, and then it's going to give you more. 18,788, 764, 788 is the next one up. Okay. So what this is looking at after the cross right here, it's looking back. Okay. So if the cross is bullish, then it's looking it's looking for targets on the upside. If the cross is bearish, it's looking for targets on the downside. Okay, so when it crosses up, it's looking up here at the pivots. When it crosses up, it's looking down here at the pivots. I think I said that backwards. I did say that backwards. Anyway, read what's in the target table. It does all the math for you. I thought of it correctly when I programmed it. So we'll put this back to the 31. You can see that 50 looks a lot better than with the current price action. That 50 looks better than the 31 range did. We'll stick with the 31, but all right, so this went up to the weekly trading zone, and now it's pulling back off the zone. It may give us an opportunity to go long here, but I don't know. Depending how long it takes, we may not even want to go long there. Stephen, were you able to take advantage of the targets in the target table with your trading today? Did you let it run to any of those targets? I know prior to us, you're using stuff where you would let things run more. uniformity. That's what I like. All right, nothing there, nothing here, and sadly, the way this is looking like it's going to work out with the ES. The ES is on a 15 range. Let's go back down to a 7 range. It's really choppy in here on the ES, so it doesn't look like we're going to get anything with that either. Okay, 31, 7, 19, 19. Oh, that's correct. I think there's another way to do that too. We just have a rectangle. Not exactly sure how to draw that. Let's call out that. I know that there's a way to draw a rectangle in here somewhere. I don't know what it is. All right, so maybe the NQ will give us a chance here. We only have 2.5 minutes left. If I don't get any trade setups, which one is that?
The one that looks like a little teardrop.
Is it? I don't have a teardrop anymore. That would be this one here. Oh, rectangle. There it is.
Yeah.
So you can probably draw a rectangle and do a similar thing with it. I don't know for sure. If we do 95, 75 down to, let's say, 93, 75, and you extend right and left, and it doesn't look like it. Yeah, it does. It does the same thing. Right over there. So you can do the same thing with a rectangle. You just got to click on it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking the other day, was just needed some kind of measuring stick. Yep. That you can drag around.
And there it is. There it is. It's the same thing that Mike already did with the
price range. Yep.
Yes, it's the price range. That works. The problem with this, I think, if you go remove all drawing objects over here, say remove 18 drawings. Okay, removes both of them. I was wondering if it would remove both of them or just one of them. I guess they're all drawing objects. I don't know which one's easy to grab onto and move around. This one or the rectangle. I actually think the rectangle is easier to grab onto and move around. Yeah, highlights a lot faster. Interesting. All right. Well, it is pretty handy. And yeah, if you don't want to do the math, then there you have it. All right, D. Well, it looks like I'm going to have to pass it back out to you. It is time. It is now 1:30 30. So you can pass me out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park.
Recap of the morning session.
Today, it took 4 minutes and 2 trades to get to $1,400.
Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, we only had one market left, and that was the euro. And here's where we opened last night. Support at the zone, which sent us up to resistance at the BBC. Resistance will always send the market looking for support. So we went to the short target, through the short target, consolidated here at the zone. And again, these are last week zones, because all alerts that go out on Sunday night are based on the previous week's zones. Tomorrow, during the broadcast, you'll see this week's zones on my charts. And so once price got through that zone, took 2 30-minute candles, which had the perfect stack there all the way down, and we ended up finding support at the zone that was published a week ago today at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. 70% of the time consolidation, 20% of the time rejection, 10% of the time the slice. One last look at the daily chart. Okay, we still have an inside day. We're still not taken out Friday's high, nor have we taken out Friday's low. And there's very little in the way of econ reports this week. Anything high impact. We don't have anything until Wednesday. And I think we might have one Thursday. Then I forget about Friday. So, based on how we closed today and so far, things look quite bullish, even though it's an inside day. We're just on the verge here of getting a bearish cross. There's the bullish cross, which sent price all the way back up to the BBC. But the second time down, that's when we managed to get through it. And so, very similar over here with the bearish cross. Here. Then the big bullish, this bullish cross that led to a multi-month move. We spiked it, but for the remainder of that week, it continued as support. Gave us this bounce where we got stuck in this range for almost a couple weeks, and then we finally really, we broke out of it here, but we had this 24% Feb retracement, which we always expect to give us some kind of a bounce. When we hit a Fib retracement on the daily chart, it bounced us up to the 50% Fib extension. Look at all these days where the 50% Fib extension was good resistance. And then we finally did the deal. Closed below the BBC. Drop down to the bullish cross, caught a bounce. And this is where we wrapped up Friday. Here's where we opened last night, and here's where we are right now. So basically today's candle is a continuation symbol or signal. Still a market looking for direction. I think once the debate tomorrow night gets out of the way and all the pundits have their fun dissecting it and blah, 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 the market will get its mind off of its political focus and then go back to worrying itself over what size of a rate cut we're going to get. Because Jerome said it and everybody believes it. So is it a quarter point or a half a point? That's the big question now. So we're running into, right now, the lowest Fib extension right here. And the daily step line. So that's resistance times 2. If buyers keep buying and we get above the step line, then we've got resistance times 3 right here. BBC, red and falling, 24% fib retracement. If we don't close above that step line today, I would anticipate lower prices tomorrow. But again, it may be thin trading till that debate is behind us. Now on Friday, our volume was 2.2 million. Our volume today so far is just barely over 1 million. So big volume day Friday, Thursday at 1.6. Day before 1.7. Day before 1.8. When I first started trading the S&P, the average daily volume tended to be 2 to 3 million. See 3 million quite a bit, but it's really dropped off. It's between 1 and 2 now. I want to say it might have been 3 to 5, but I have to go back and take a look at the history books. But that's the daily picture. That's where we stand. To become a member, go to mytradingiq.com. If you have any questions, call us 949-42-EMINI. Or you can always email support@cfrn.net. When you become a passport holder, you'll have access to the live training room, 2 hours every trading day. It's an interactive environment. So whether you're on the trial or you've been a member for a while, ask whatever questions pop into your head. That's how you learn. Your questions are never an interruption of the process. Your questions are the purpose of the process. That's the whole reason we're there, so that you can ask questions, get your answers, write your business plan, write your trading plan, get your 10 consecutive days in a row in your demo account so that you can qualify to go live, trade real money. Okay. Now, if you don't have the time or patience to do those 3 things, write your business plan, write your trading plan, and put together 10 consecutive days in demo, you probably don't have the patience and discipline to become a trader. Everybody always wants to be in a trade. I remember when I first started trading futures, oh my gosh, if I didn't have at least 2 hooks in the water at the same time, I didn't feel like I was alive. Needless to say, my thinking has changed. Okay. I only want a hook in the water at this point where I see a valid window of opportunity on my 30-minute chart. Otherwise, it's just noise to me. So along with having 2 hours of interactive group training every trading day, get private one-on-one mentoring, strategy learn, the indicators you own as a passport holder are fluid across all markets and all time frames. Price flow is the same, whether it's futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETFs, support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over, again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. Once you become a passport holder, you'll get the Logic 247 alerts around the clock. Get the concierge trade alerts every evening when they're published shortly after the Globex Open. Monday mornings, 6:15 a.m. Eastern, you get the weekly trading zones. And you're able to attend the members only workshop every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. And you get access to the library of many previous workshops. Everything a trader needs, all under one roof, one low price. Okay, let's wrap it up with our good word for the day. Back on Friday, we closed out the week with a prayer of commitment to God. Today, let's talk about having a vision for your life. Now, in our daily devotional, which is at the beginning of each broadcast, we've been in for, I think I said 9 days. God's dream for your life. Now remember, He gave you free will. So, He wants the best for you. God is for you, not against you. I know that's a lyric of a very popular Christian song right now, but it's true. God's your biggest fan. He's rooting for you. So, Joel 2:28. Your young men shall see visions. When you ask a child what they want to be when they grow up, they're apt to say something like a firefighter, a doctor, or a famous actor. The ability to dream is a gift that God has placed within each of us. If you want to achieve great things in life, you need a vision. Joseph's vision didn't come to pass until he was 30 years old. But he received it from God when he was a teenager. And God will give you one too. Right now, you may be considering different options for your life. Maybe even experimenting with a few. That's okay. You're still getting to know yourself, your strengths and weaknesses, what you're drawn to, and what you have no interest in at all. If you focus on only one thing and your aspirations change, then you have wasted your best mental energy. But as you grow and mature, you need to become selective. The Chinese say, a man who chases 2 rabbits catches neither. And when you receive a God-given vision, it has staying power. It's like a fire burning within you. It may be a full-time vocation or a part-time vocation, but it's the thing you will find the most fulfillment in doing. Paul wrote in Philippians 3:13, this one thing I do. As a result, he changed history. Today, churches and cathedrals are named after him. Here is a prayer God will answer. Lord, give me a vision for my life. That's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.